Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we look at the latest comics and other media featuring the Transformers. In this episode, we continue to dive into the action in Skybound's Energon Universe with a review of Transformers number 8. Today is Friday, May 17th, 2024, and this is episode 390 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that never leaves any survivors. I'm your host Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
And Darryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Let's talk Transformers.
No one can see that wave. That's like 4 seconds of dead air on a podcast, Darryl.
Yes, the visual medium that is podcasting. It's true.
All right. As always, we start off the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who support us on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you all so much for contributing and helping us keep the show going. If you are not a Donatreon and would like to become one, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support, and that's where you can sign up. This week we we are very excited to announce our newest Masterpiece Donatreon, and he signed up for a whole year up front. So thank you, and we gave him a big thanks on the toy show. the confetti is falling in Jeremy's window. But we got to continue to thank Steve C. Steve C, you're awesome. Thank you so much for becoming a Masterpiece Donatron. And yeah, it's amazing. And we will be in touch with you to get all your goodies, all the perks and prizes that come with that. So thank you again. And speaking of being a Donatron, you can get some bonus content. That includes our bonus show, We Like Big Bots. That's exclusive to Donatrons. You can only see that by being on our Patreon page. That show is made by Dr. Pants and Darryl, and they go through and show off all the big bots in their collection. There are 12 episodes up right now. 2 more are coming very soon, I'm told. So we'll be on the lookout for that, and we will definitely announce it on the show when they're up. But yeah, that show is going strong, and hopefully we'll get some more out the rest of the year. So keep checking. Of course, we've also got bonus content from our Transformers RPG live play show, Empire of Rust. This week is the uncut bonus version of episode 115, Heroes in a Half Shell. That came out this week, and next week will be the regular version of that episode that everyone will have access to at transmissionspodcast.com/rust. So that will be out this Monday, May 20th, and everyone take a look at that. But if you are a Donatron, you can listen to it right now, listen to the bonus version from our Patreon page. We've also got copies of our exclusive Skybound Transformers number 1 comic, and that is artwork by EJ Sue. It's available at transmissionspodcast.com/comic, and yeah, you can order them. We've still got plenty left. And we've also got our Toy Hacks promo code for May. This gives you 15% off at everything at toyhacks.com. You can use it as often as you like with as many items as you like. Just can't combine it with any other promo codes, but you can use it with your Robo Points. So use that code for the month of May. It's Matrix, Maytrix, and you will get that 15% off. So continue to use that until May 31st. Okay, let's jump into our comic review right now. Okay, we are reviewing Transformers number 8 from Skybound. This will be a complete spoiler review, so if you haven't read the comic yet, this is your warning. Get out now, stop the podcast, go read that comic, and then come back, because we're going to talk all about what happened in this issue, and a lot happened. So we're getting into it right now. Okay, Transformers number 8 was written by Daniel Warren Johnson, artist Jorge Corona, colorist Mike Spicer, letterer Russ Wooten, editor Ben Abernathy, publication design Andre Suarez, and production Ashby Florence. So let's talk about this story. In the forest outside the Autobots' Ark base in the mountains, Carly pushes Spike's wheelchair to the edge of a small lake to enjoy the scenery. RC keeps watch standing on a nearby rock. Carly asks Spike how he's feeling, and Spike seems to still be numb after all the events of the last few days, especially after losing his father, Sparky, and not even having a body or any remains to mourn. Then Cliffjumper approaches with some soda for the two humans. Spike thanks him for the drinks, but Carly ignores him. She still can't forgive Cliffjumper for sparing Starscream's life after all the people he killed, including Carly's father. Carly storms off, and Cliffjumper sits on the shore of the lake in despair. Spike puts a comforting hand on his shoulder. Back on Cybertron, Elita 1 carries her injured Autobot comrade out of the Decepticon torture dungeon. The bot begs Elita 1 to end his 150 years of torture and suffering and finally kill him. Elita 1 apologizes that it took so long to find him, but she can't let him go yet. But she does promise that if the Decepticons catch up to them, she'll end both their sparks before she lets them be taken again. Back on Earth, specifically in the Pacific Ocean, the nuclear aircraft carrier USS Henry Harrison detects incoming unidentified bogies. The captain orders everyone to battle stations and gets their fighters in the air, but it's no use. The Decepticons easily destroy the fighter jets and land on the carrier with a boom of destruction. Soundwave orders Thundercracker not to sink the ship until they reach their destination. Thundercracker obeys, but then he is intrigued by the tiny creatures who use metal objects to transport themselves. Thundercracker pities the puny humans, and he harbors no malice towards them since they are so pathetic. The captain begs for his life, and Thundercracker spares him and the rest of the crew, allowing them to board their lifeboats and evacuate. But Soundwave tells Thundercracker that the humans will alert their leaders to the Decepticons' activities, and they can't have that. Despite the fact that they are no threat, there can't be any witnesses. Soundwave fires his shoulder cannon at the humans' lifeboats, slaughtering the crew. At the Ark, Wheeljack, still only halfway reassembled with no working legs and running on makeshift treads, is not having any luck getting Teletran 1 to work on restoring more Autobots. What's left of Skywarp's consciousness is still locking him out of the system, and he's been so tightly integrated into the Ark's computer system that they can't remove him without disabling it. Optimus Prime asks if the Ark captured a video feed of what the Decepticons did to Skywarp. Wheeljack finds it and brings up the display. Despite the fact that Skywarp is an enemy and a terrible killer, Prime is still horrified by what the Decepticons did to him. Prime says Skywarp is broken just like the Autobots. But then Carly arrives to say broken isn't good enough for Skywarp or any Decepticon. Dead is better. Just like Pet Sematary. Sometimes dead is better. She has a rocket launcher aimed at what's left of Skywarp, ready to end his existence once and for all. Prime begs Carly to put the weapon down, but she refuses, citing all the damage he and Starscream have done. Prime agrees, but Teletran 1 is their best chance to revive the rest of the Autobots and have enough warriors to stand against the Decepticons and end their war. Carly hesitates, but then she accidentally pulls the trigger. The missile speeds towards its target, but then RC leaps in the way. She takes the full force of the missile to her chest. She's alive, but in a lot of pain from the direct hit. What's left of Skywarp does notice that the Autobot saved his life and makes a decision to unlock Teletran 1's repair functions. Wheeljack's lower body is immediately restored and he gets his full body reconstructed. Optimus Prime tries to console Carly with a bit of paternal wisdom, but Carly is having none of it. She storms off angrily, done with Prime's excuses. Later, RC finds Carly sulking in the back of her van. Carly apologizes for blowing her up with the missile and asks why Teletran 1 didn't heal her. RC replies that Wheeljack said they're low on Energon since the Decepticons used most of it to revive the Constructicons. Carly asks why the Autobots don't act like powerful total badasses since they're giant metal warriors. RC answers that they weren't always like this. They were scattered and lost before the war started on Cybertron. It was Optimus Prime that united them, and he just wants to end the war and find peace. Carly is not impressed with Prime's platitudes, but RC tells her that Prime has his own demons from years and years of loss and war. Speaking of Optimus Prime, he's having another vision of holding Spike as a baby and coloring with him as a toddler. He awakens to someone calling out to him. He goes to the next chamber in the Ark and finds Jetfire in aircraft mode, asking where everyone is. Prime and Ratchet tell Jetfire that there was a small part of his spark still intact, and it was enough to reactivate him, but only in jet mode and unable to transform or operate himself. Jetfire asks why they didn't let him rest. Optimus apologizes and tells him they need his aircraft form to quickly travel across the Earth and confront the Decepticons when necessary. Jetfire is not happy to be just a living taxi that can't even see or move on his own. Optimus apologizes again and says he'll leave him alone, but Jetfire tells him no, please stay with him and keep him company to help stave off the eternal darkness. Prime agrees and sits down next to him. In the Pacific Ocean, the Decepticons have found what they're looking for. From the aircraft carrier, they dive into the ocean, sinking to the bottom. Soundwave gets a report from Scrapper that the Constructicons have found the Nemesis. As they watch, Hook activates his crane and pulls the giant spacecraft out of a deep trench in the ocean's floor. Soundwave activates an Energon shield covering a hole in the hull so they can keep the water out. The Decepticons go in and assess the state of their crashed ship. Inside, they hear a constant banging sound. Something is still alive in the ship. Thundercracker can't believe the prisoner they had would still be here after all this time. Soundwave orders Thundercracker to open the prison cell. Thundercracker hesitates but obeys his leader. He taps the control and an enraged Astrotrain rips open the doorway and charges out. He angrily asks, "Where is Megatron?" as he grabs Thundercracker's head, ready to crush it. He wants Megatron to pay for putting him in the prison cell and leaving him to rust. He works out his rage on Thundercracker while Thundercracker begs for his life. Soundwave tells him they don't know where Megatron is, but when they find him, they'll let him do what he will. Astrotrain releases Thundercracker and agrees to work with them as long as Soundwave swears Megatron will be his. Soundwave agrees and tells him he has a mission for him. At the Ark, Wheeljack has detected Cybertron inactivity on Earth. The Decepticons' unearthing nemesis has not escaped their notice. Optimus immediately orders the Autobots to board Jetfire so they can confront the Decepticons directly. Carly tells them she's coming too, but Prime tells her it's too dangerous. Carly protests that she has real weapons now and can help, but Prime replies that Carly isn't a warrior and the Autobots won't be able to fight and protect her at the same time. RC interjects that she'll be willing to take on Carly as her Iron Apprentice. It's a sacred bond between an older mentor and a younger apprentice. Prime reluctantly agrees, even though the Iron Apprentice bond is only supposed to be between Cybertronians. But he orders RC to stay behind with Carly and Wheeljack to protect their home and watch over Spike. The rest of the Autobots board a transport pod strapped to the underside of Jetfire's aircraft form. Cliffjumper climbs into Jetfire's cockpit and pilots the plane since Jetfire has no ability to fly himself. The Autobots take off into the air to fly to the source of the Cybertronian signal. Meanwhile, on the Nemesis, Thundercracker asks when the Nemesis will be spaceworthy again. But Soundwave says that won't be possible. The Nemesis needs too much energon to take off under its own power. And Soundwave only needs the Nemesis' communication systems back online. He makes contact with Cybertron and fellow Decepticon Shockwave. It looks like the Decepticons will soon be getting even more reinforcements. To be continued. So this was a bit of a breather episode, or breather issue I should say, where the Autobots are trying to recover and regroup. The Decepticons are moving forward with their plan, and I like Soundwave in his more methodical approach. The the callousness of murdering all the humans. I mean, I understand, but it's cool to see that bit of character moment. Like you see Thundercracker, and Thundercracker has always been, since his G1 tech spec has been there. He's had a lot of characterizations where he's sympathetic to humans, and of course in IDW he became like he went native completely on Earth and stayed on Earth for a long time. Uh, and here you see a bit of that personality coming through here, where he doesn't bear any ill will to those humans, but he doesn't respect them at all. He thinks they're puny and useless, but he doesn't want to just squish them. So, and he seemed genuinely, remorseful that Soundwave had to basically murder them for the greater Decepticon good, I guess. Um, but we also see like Daniel Warren Johnson is not wasting any time with moving the plot forward for Transformers. Like we in the first story arc, we immediately got to Devastator. In this story arc, we're immediately contacting Cybertron. Things are moving forward. We're getting a lot of character development and a lot of plot movement as well. So I'm happy with that. There wasn't really a big fight in this book. I mean, I don't think you can call what the Decepticons did really a fight. They just went in and wrecked the humans' aircraft carrier with they met no resistance there. Um, but I still liked all the stuff that and we get a lot of like little bits of story progression here. We get all the Autobots. We get Elita 1 on Cybertron. We get the Decepticons. So it's a lot of good stuff here. Um, Jetfire's situation is a little like that's also kind of a new wrinkle here where we've never had in previous continuities like you could have a transformer be both kind of alive and dead at the same time. That was a kind of a weird uh development here where he's conscious but he can't really do anything in his body. He's kind of trapped in his body. It's very interesting, like almost like being paralyzed. And so I wonder if there's a way to that they'll be able to bring him fully back at some point in the future. But I guess we'll see. It sounded like it seemed like they weren't able to do that. But maybe if they get more energon, they can do that. I don't know. But yeah, I enjoyed this issue. It set up a lot of things for next issue. I think next issue is going to be another big confrontation with the Autobots and the Decepticons. So I like what they're doing with this book. So yeah. Darryl, what were your thoughts?
I didn't mind it. I thought it was a decent book. You're right; it was kind of slow, but it's fine. Every now and then, you do need a book to kind of, you know, you know, dump a little bit of exposition on you. And it wasn't all just like chat. They actually did have some stuff going on, like the release of Astrotrain, and he's like a like a Decepticon criminal, right? Like if you like, I don't know
Yeah.
if how you would class it. Like he's imprisoned by the Decepticon. So I mean, if he's a bad Decepticon, then he's pretty rough, and he's out for blood, or Energon, I guess, with Megatron. Either way, he's Megatron's on his shit list. So the I did like how Carly is holding a grudge. I thought that's kind of cool. Yeah, she's not ready to forgive Cliffjumper yet, and that's yeah, I would I would be the same. You sat there and you watched Cliffjumper just let him get away, and yeah, hold a grudge. Yeah, make it part of your character. You're pissed off with him. The interesting thing about the Alita stuff is it we've all kind of expected it to be Ultra Magnus, but it has not confirmed it's him yet.
Yeah, I mean, I was never on the Ultra Magnus train there. At least in this book, it doesn't look like Ultra Magnus at all to me. I don't know.
Well, right now it's
No.
just a destroyed, body.
It's just a husk, yeah.
Yeah, but even the head, like the head shape doesn't look like Ultra Magnus. I don't know. I mean, maybe it
Yeah.
is, but for me, I'm still
I
skeptical.
mean,
of
Ultra
it is.
Magnus did get name dropped. RC name dropped him, saying she was like a student of him. They were the whatever. She was the
Iron
Metal
Apprentice to
Warriors,
him.
or the Apprentice, Iron Apprentice. Yeah, that's it. So perhaps Alita was also an apprentice. of Magnus. It's very possible. I expect Magnus would be bigger, but he's been reduced to gears here, so
Maybe they're going to go with the whole exoskeleton thing like Dreamwave did.
Maybe, but
he's as big as Optimus normally.
I fully expect them to. Yeah, I fully expect them to kind of stretch this out. I liked how Soundwave kind of got his hands dirty and killed the crew of the boat. He's got a plan and he's gonna kind of like see it through. So, yeah, everything just kind of is moving along. I thought like I said, I thought the book was really good. Yeah, I'm just kind of flipping through the pages here just to kind of get another look at things. They're moving ahead with the insignia stamps. They're really not turning back on that. So I guess I'm just kind of stuck with that. Maybe the next artist on here will do something different, but yeah. No, the art's been great. Other than the stamps, so yeah.
Jeremy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like you said, it's a bit of a slower issue, but I enjoyed a lot of the stuff, particularly with Carly. Seeing her just so readily want to just destroy Skywarp. I don't know. It's just I really like the interaction between her and the other Autobots and the kind of relationship with RC that's forming here. The Jetfire stuff is interesting, but I made the mistake of reading the preview for the next issue, which they put out like the day after this comic came out. So in my mind, I was like, as we were going through this again, I was remembering stuff that happened in that preview. So I'm just not going to talk about the Jetfire stuff because it will be spoilery even in the spoiler review. But I do like the whole he's stuck in that mode and can't even see that. I mean, it's really sad, and hopefully they do work out how to restore him. I think their justification at this point was just they don't have the Energon. With the Decepticon stuff, Soundwave had to have known about the Nemesis even when Starscream was in charge, and he just was not playing. He was not revealing his hand, and I think he knew Starscream was going to basically get himself killed, and then, with Starscream out of the way, he would execute this obviously logical, stronger plan. And I was surprised at him basically throwing Megatron under the bus, because last time I think it was even last issue with the Free Comic Book Day issue, I speculated that when Megatron returns, he would just cede control over to Megatron, no issues, because that's usually when we see Soundwave, that's what he does. But I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I think Soundwave has no love lost with Megatron for some reason. Like when Astrotrain is gunning for Megatron, he's just like, sure, when we find Megatron, he's yours. Or maybe he knows Megatron will take care of Astrotrain quickly, and it's just another kind of easy solution to a problem, just using Astrotrain as a tool.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think what we're seeing for Soundwave is that he is super pragmatic. Like,
yeah.
He is, and I like the idea that the Decepticons, they are all like, they have this greater Decepticon good. They are like, they have a Decepticon ethos that they're fighting for, and it's like it's bigger than any one bot. Like, it's not just the leader, it's about who's going to advance the Decepticons furthest in the best way. So, and I think from Soundwave's perspective, he probably thinks, well, I mean, it's likely if Megatron is already dead, so
Yeah.
they might if they at this point he's like, okay, I need Astrotrain's this huge hulking warrior. I need more Decepticons on my side. I'll say whatever I need to get him to work with me now, and then I'll if Megatron ever does come back, we'll deal with that when it happens.
Yeah. I also like the characterization of Thundercracker because, like, in his tech spec and like even in the previous IDW run, he was never really the warrior. He more wanted, like, I think he was kind of conscripted and didn't really want to fight. And I like that he's, even though he like looks down on the humans and stuff, he doesn't really want to kill them just to kill them. He just, it's like, we need this ship, get it off the ship. And then we see the pragmatic Soundwave just, no, they need to just be blown away. No witnesses. So I like the distinction we're getting here with Thundercracker, and just, he's always been one of my favorite characters, and I like seeing this distinction.
Yeah. And even Soundwave was like, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna do this. But he's like, he says it's regrettable but necessary. So even Soundwave was like, I'm not really trying to murder humans here, but I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah. But then I think the last thing I want to comment on is the Shockwave reveal. I mean, we all knew it was going to be coming. I just wasn't expecting it to come this quickly. Like you said, they're moving things pretty fast, and I didn't think that the Cybertron Earth connection was going to happen this quickly. I was expecting maybe towards the end of the first year, but if this is happening, then we know that the Elita 1 storyline is also, in parallel. There's gonna be some resolution sooner than we expect, I would think. So this was a really good meaty book, and with the Autobots on the way, next book is probably not going to be as wordy. Oh, and I need to comment on the lettering and the sound effects. Just excellent job. I especially like the bang bangs and stuff. Just really great job on that.
Yeah. And I'm curious, like we've already kind of discussed how all the G.I. Joe books time jumped 6 months into the future. So we're still with the Transformers book. We're still like just a few days after they first woke up and kind of ravaged the nearby town. So I'm wondering how I mean, and even the Decepticons are like, we're not trying to like expose ourselves anytime soon, but it's just interesting how much is going to happen in this 6 months before we catch up with the G.I. Joe books. And will that lead, maybe that will lead into like the first big Energon Universe crossover where like the G.I. Joe finally confronts the Transformers, and Cobra comes out and all this other crazy stuff. So maybe that's what they're what they're leading up to.
Yeah, we do need to kind of get the time synced up at some point.
Yeah. All right.
When a Transformer makes an appearance in a Joe book, you'll get a time sync up.
Yeah. So, Darryl, like last week we did review the Energon Universe special. So, what were your thoughts on that, real quick?
Yeah, well, I do have 3 copies of them now, so I should be an expert on it. I was able. I did listen to Alt Mode. I saw that you guys mentioned that I got it early. I did get it early, and I read it early. I was going to write and spoil it for both of you, and I thought that would be really fun. And then I thought, no, that's a lot of writing. So I just got
Daryl's
lazy.
laziness saves us all.
Yeah. But just simply by opening it, I was like, yes, we're getting an answer. So yes, I was very happy to see that it was going to be a Megatron story. I mean, it kind of gave it away on the cover. So, but I was happy to see that we were going to get some answers as to what actually happened to Megatron. So I was very happy to see that. Not super thrilled to see that Brawn bit it in the first page, but so there you go. He's gone. I remember talking about, and you guys did mention it again on the show last week, that I remember being excited for Ryan Ottley's art. And I remember going through this and thinking, this isn't as good as I was expecting. I was expecting much better. But there's this big 2-page spread on page 2 and 3 is very, very Ryan Ottley. Like, it's extremely Ryan Ottley style. I remember looking at this and first off and thinking, who the hell did this? This isn't very good. And then I remember thinking, oh, it's Ottley stuff. Why is it not better? And then I think, oh yes, it's robots and not people. So that's the problem. So he's a very talented artist. He's fantastic when drawing people. This robot thing is tougher for him, I think. So, I don't think he's using insignia stamps. I'll give him that. If he is, he's putting some kind of a texture over top of them to make them at least blend in. So, but as far as the story goes, I'm very happy to see a story for Megatron here. How he lost the arm, and then Starscream being Starscream, and doing stuff. So, if Megatron does in fact come back into the Transformers books, he's going to be going after Starscream, and Astrotrain is going to be going after Megatron. It's going to be a nice little here. Yeah.
Well, Starscream is kind of out of the picture right now.
That's true. Yeah. But is he really?
Never. So.
I would never count Starscream out. So anyway, yeah, very cool. Yeah. So a very interesting book. We get a little bit of information on. We see what the Joes did with Megatron there. So once they found him, I have no idea what this thing
Cobra
is.
Law.
What the fuck is that?
That's a thing.
Some
from Cobra Law.
Green blob thing. It just kind of. I'm reading Transformers. Green monster being ridden by some guy. No explanation on that.
That's Globulus that's writing it.
Oh, okay.
He's the Cobra Law leader. He was introduced in Cobra Commander #1.
Yeah, but what's he riding? What is that thing?
I don't know.
It's just a monster. It's the Cobra. Cobra Law is their whole thing is that they're all their technology is organic. So this is their giant tank monster thing.
Right. It's sentient though. That's the thing. It's sentient. Anyway, so yeah, it's we see that, and that's all fine. Megatron is loose now, so I mean, at the end of this, you see Megatron is being loose. So yeah,
And
very
blind.
cool. And he is blind, yes. So all in all, a great story. I was happy to see, what's going on with Megatron, because that was one of the big questions. Because obviously Prime's running around with one of his arms, and we had only gotten kind of looks. We'd seen him kind of frozen on the side of a mountain, which was something. Maybe he fell out of the ship. He kind of ended up on the mountain there. But yeah, all in all, a decent little book. Definitely worth the price.
You didn't read the Void Rival story?
The what now?
The second story. Might
So
also have a Transformer in it.
no comment on the second and third stories, Darryl.
Oh, I saw that there was Hot Rod in here. I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, the Hot Rod's coming in because I know Void Rivals. I know the next one's got Springer on the cover, so that's kind of fun. And then we've got Hot Rod here talking with what's his nuts, the
Skutzoid.
Skutzoid. That's the guy. Yeah, and so they're talking about some stuff, and we got Hot Rod here, so he's the guy behind the Skutzoid. So that's very fun. Not a lot. It's like 4 pages for that one.
Yeah, I mean the Megatron story got I think 16 pages, which is I'm sure you appreciate that.
Oh, I do. Yes, I do. So yeah, no, I was very happy to see that we're getting Hot Rod. So a couple more Transformers characters coming in. No, that was good.
And there was a third story.
I didn't read that one. Was unnecessary.
Had an Autobot symbol in it somewhere.
I flipped through it. I saw some lady got a new set of clothes, and that was it.
All right.
Well,
thanks.
Stupid.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for your commentary on the Energon Universe special. So yeah. So definitely the Megatron was the highlight. The Megatron story was the highlight. But with Hot Rod is probably going to figure in pretty quickly since we know, like you mentioned, Springer's coming, and that Void Rivals issue is, I believe, next week. So. Or the week next week. When this show goes up, it'll be next week.
Yes, that's right.
So,
yep.
So look forward to that, and we will probably do a Void Rivals review next week. So, all right. Well, that's our review of Transformers number 8. So let's. We've still got a little bit of show to do. So let's move on to a little bit of media news.
All right. So in media news this week, there's a Transformers 40th anniversary screening happening, and we've talked about that before. We talked about it a little bit on the toy show this week because it's happening very soon. And
one of them's already happened when this goes up.
Yeah.
So it's May 15th, 18th, and 19th. So if you've missed the 15th one, then you need to look out for the weekend. And if you are looking for like everything that's happening right now with movies, everything gets a popcorn bucket and a cup. So there is one here for the Transformers movie stuff. And the 40th anniversary bucket has got that wicked G1 box art on it. And so does the cup. So yeah, these are.
I'm just now seeing I missed that the marketing said straight out of Cybertron. That's ridiculous.
And they used the old 80s Hasbro logo in the bottom right corner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is that on the bucket at all? Doesn't look like it.
We don't see that much of the bucket.
Everyone just keeps showing the same angle on the cup.
Yeah.
No, I can see the new Hasbro logo there to the left of Optimus.
There. Yeah. So anyway, this is cool. This is not like the Dune bucket. There's no sexual tension with this bucket. But it's very cool. It's got a great box art on it. So if you are going there anyway, you might as well pick one up.
Unfortunately, that's just at Cinemarks. So if you don't have a Cinemark, like I don't have a Cinemark, you're out of luck.
Well, I only found out recently that this was happening in Canada at a couple select theaters. So we're lucky to actually get the event. So I'll be shocked as all hell if we get some of these buckets. So. But yeah, that's it for media news.
All right. Well, that takes us to the end of this episode of Transmissions. Of course, at the end of every episode, we give a shout out to our Masterpiece Donatrons. These are the folks who continue to support the podcast at our highest level on Patreon. And that's why they deserve a mention in every episode. So thank you once again to John Fork Good, Demon Tech 82, and Steve C. Gotta get used to that. It's a whole new day. We got a new Masterpiece Donation list. All right, everyone. We really appreciate everyone watching and listening. Leave us some feedback. What did you think of Transformers number 8? We'll talk about that. We'll mention your feedback on the next show if you have any. And thanks again for watching and listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.